there had been, I think for a very long time, certainly an awareness of how Robert Sarver operated within basketball operations, how disruptive he had been through years of turnover of general managers, coaches, and players, and really a decade of very little success until these last couple years with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton and of course Chris Paul, and a different leadership structure with Monty Williams as head coach, James Jones as GM, but the levels beyond basketball throughout the organization, the issues of race, of misogyny, certainly people around the league were mortified by what they read, by the reporting of Baxter Holmes, and really just how deep-seated the issues are in Phoenix during this Robert Sarver regime, and all the different ways it touched people throughout that organization.
Woj, as it relates to the NBA doing an investigation with the Phoenix Suns, obviously they stated that nobody reached out to the NBA hotline. How do you, with Donald Sterling, there was physical evidence that you could see. Here it's hearsay with people and their opinions about what happened to them. How does the NBA move forward with this type of investigation?
Jay, it's going to be a very different investigation than Donald Sterling, which really got wrapped up within days. There was audio tape. Then he went on television, did an interview, if you remember, on CNN shortly after that audio tape was released, and he was suspended quickly by Adam Silver. There was another case during Adam Silver's tenure in Atlanta with Bruce Levinson. There were email evidence about the owner's comments to within the organization about race and their fan base that led to an investigation, and ultimately he sold the team. This is different, and this is going to be a much longer investigation, it would seem, and I think that's what the league is preparing for, the Suns. But there's an opportunity now not only to corroborate what Baxter had in his reporting, but opening the doors up for even further examination and more people getting a chance to come and talk to the league investigators. There were many people, current and former, in Phoenix who are anxious to talk to the NBA. I think you see in Baxter's reporting there were those who wondered if this day would ever come. And so, there may be people beyond those who perhaps were among the 70 that talked to Baxter for his story, who now would like to speak with NBA investigators and describe their experiences with Robert Sarver, with his culture there. This is the same law firm that did this Clipper investigation, the Hawks investigation for the NBA. And so expect this to take time and to play out over certainly months. But I think for Robert Sarver, you talk to other owners around the league yesterday, the other members of the Board of Governors, and it'll be that issue of race. Ultimately, it's what led to ownership changes with the Clippers, with the Hawks, and then we'll see now as the league does its investigation, what does it mean for the future of Robert Sarver as owner of the Suns?
Woj, I know it's still in the early stages of everything, and they've got to do their due diligence and investigations and everything else that comes with that. But let's forecast for a minute, because you've been in this business a very long time and you've seen all sort of things. What penalties do you think at the end of the day we could expect, if any at all?
Yeah, listen, at the very least, financial fines, the league can levy those. Adam Silver can levy suspensions. And, listen, the most dramatic, possible change could be ownership change. Now, that would take a three-fourths vote of the Board of Governors, 29 other governors with teams. That's a high threshold to get ownership change, to have that voted upon by his peers. In my conversations yesterday with other owners, they would need to see a lot more before they would even consider that as something that's on the table. But that's why, expecting the league to go in, be thorough about this. You know, you've seen with Adam Silver, and you can look through his tenure, not much, if any, tolerance on the issue of race and how that impacted the employees and basketball staff, coaches, front office executives, all of those in Phoenix who, when you look at the reporting, were impacted. So I think it's going to take time. But I think in the short term, if you're Phoenix, things like corporate sponsorships, all of those things, you know, when potential sponsors or current sponsors see this kind of reporting, what Earl Watson talked about on the record, you know, that certainly impacts the bottom line in the short time. But Robert Sarver has denied, you know, virtually all of the accusations of those who described the environment there. And he said he looks forward to an independent, as he called it, NBA investigation that he hopes or believes will account well for his time in Phoenix.
Woj, 2 owners in a row now for CP3, not in a row, excuse me, but between Donald Sterling and now obviously with Robert Sarver for Chris Paul. What role do you envision him taking in this entire process?
Jay, an immense role. And I think this organization is leaning on him in these times, not just his teammates, but his general manager, James Jones, his coach, Monty Williams. He did go through this with the Clippers and through that investigation, led that team. But not only in that instance, Jay, you know, think about as the head of the Players Association, getting his peers into the bubble at a time where there was not a universal sense among players that they should go into the bubble at that time during the pandemic, what was going on in this country.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.